My name is Lauren, and for most of my life, I defined myself by my family. We were a unit, or so I believed. My older sister, Brianna, was the star. She was brilliant and charismatic, a top real estate agent who commanded every room. I was the reliable one, the quiet daughter who became a junior marketing manager at a firm only 20 minutes from my parents' house. I liked my life. I loved our traditions, especially Thanksgiving. It was my favorite day of the year, a guaranteed time of loud laughter, too much food, and feeling like I belonged. I never questioned my place, even if it was always slightly in Brianna's shadow. I just thought that was how families worked. That particular Thanksgiving, I was buzzing with a secret. For weeks, I had been secretly interviewing for a dream job. It was a senior content strategist role at a prestigious marketing agency in the city, a huge leap forward. 2 days before the holiday, they called with an offer. The salary was life-changing. I decided to announce it at dinner, a surprise triumph to share with everyone. I pictured their proud faces, maybe finally seeing me as an equal to Brianna. I packed my laptop to finish one last presentation, my mind racing with the future. The turkey smelled amazing as I pulled into my parents' driveway, my heart full of hope and nervous excitement. I arrived early, as always, to help my mom. The kitchen was warm and fragrant, our familiar sanctuary. She hugged me tightly, her apron dusted with flour. "My reliable Lauren," she said, handing me a peeler for the mountain of potatoes. We worked in comfortable silence for a while, then fell into our usual rhythm of chatting about neighbors and recipes. I almost told her about the job right then, but I wanted the full family audience. I wanted to see Brianna's reaction. I finished the potatoes and told Mom I needed to wrap up some work before the chaos began. I grabbed my laptop bag and slipped into the quiet, wood-paneled study. The study was my dad's domain, a place of quiet order. I sat at the heavy oak desk to plug in my laptop. That's when I saw it. My mother's antique diamond bracelet, a family heirloom from her own grandmother, was sitting right on the green desk blotter. It sparkled under the lamp. I picked it up, feeling the weight of it. It was beautiful. I never wore flashy things, but I admired it for a moment, thinking of its history. Then, carefully, I placed it back exactly where I found it. I didn't think twice about it. I opened my laptop and got to work, the faint sounds of football and family laughter drifting from the living room. An hour later, the house was full. Aunts, uncles, my cousin with her kids. The table was groaning with food. We all sat down, held hands, and my dad said grace. We started passing around the dishes, the mood joyful and loud. Then, halfway through the meal, my mom gasped. Her hand flew to her wrist. "My bracelet," she said, her voice rising in panic. "It's gone. I left it on the study desk." "It's not there." The conversation died instantly. Everyone stopped eating. My dad's face grew stern. "Are you sure, Helen?" he asked. "It has to be here," she said, her eyes wide with distress. "It was just there this morning." A search was suggested. People started looking under the table, patting their pockets. That's when Brianna spoke up. Her voice was sweet, concerned. "You know," she said, tapping her chin thoughtfully. "I saw Lauren coming out of the study earlier. She was holding something small, something shiny. She looked like she was putting it in her bag." Every single head at the table turned to look at me. The air was sucked from the room. I felt my face flush hot. I was just admiring it. I stammered. "I put it right back." My dad's eyes narrowed. Did you go into the study alone, Lauren? He asked, his tone formal and cold. The accusation hung in the air, thick and sour. I felt sick. Yes, but I didn't take it. I insisted. My nephew, a sweet boy of 7 named Toby, wanted to help. I'll check, he said, and before anyone could stop him, he dashed from the dining room. He knew I always put my laptop bag in the hall closet. I had stored it there when I finished working. My heart started to pound a frantic rhythm against my ribs. This was a bad dream. I opened my mouth to say something, to stop him, but no sound came out. We all heard the closet door open. The entire family was frozen, waiting. Toby came running back, my black laptop bag in his hands. It's here, he announced. My dad took the bag from him. His jaw was set. He looked at me, a look of deep disappointment that cut deeper than anger. Do you mind? He asked, but it wasn't really a question. I just shook my head, helpless. He unzipped the main compartment. He turned the bag upside down and gave it a shake. My papers, a pen, and my charger clattered onto the floor. And then, with a final, terrible clink, the diamond bracelet fell out, landing on the pile. The sound was like a gunshot in the silent room. A collective gasp echoed around the table. My mother put a hand over her mouth, her eyes filling with horrified tears. Lauren, she whispered, the sound full of pain. No. It wasn't me. I cried, jumping up from my chair. My voice was shaking violently. I didn't put it there. Someone must have, my bag was in my car. I only brought it inside. But my protests sounded weak, desperate, even to my own ears. The evidence was literally lying at my father's feet. The looks on their faces were a mixture of shock, disgust, and a crushing disappointment that made my legs feel weak. Brianna sighed, shaking her head sadly. My father bent down, picked up the bracelet, and handed it silently to my mother. Then he pointed a rigid finger toward the front door. His face was a stone mask. Get out, he said, his voice low and trembling with fury. You are not my daughter. A thief is not welcome in this house. My mother was sobbing now, clutching the bracelet to her chest, not looking at me. How could you? She wept. I looked at Brianna. For just a split second, before she rearranged her features into pity, I saw it. A flicker of pure, smug satisfaction in her eyes. That tiny glimpse told me everything. I turned and ran from the room. I stumbled to my car, the cold November air slapping my tear-streaked face. I fumbled with my keys, my vision blurry. I drove away from the house, from my family, from everything I knew. I didn't know where to go, so I just drove aimlessly until I found myself back at my quiet, dark apartment. I sat on the floor in the living room, still in my nice Thanksgiving dress, and cried until I had no tears left. Hours later, I remembered the voicemail. I played it. The calm, professional voice of the HR manager filled the silent space. We're thrilled to offer you the position. Please call to accept. The contrast was so sharp it was funny. I laughed, a dry, hollow sound. The next morning, sunlight streamed into my apartment, feeling cruel and out of place. My head was pounding, but my thoughts were suddenly, painfully clear. Facts lined up in my mind. My laptop bag had been in my locked car the entire time I was at my parents' house, until I brought it inside to work. I remembered the study window, the one with the old latch, being slightly ajar when I was in there. I had thought nothing of it. Someone could have gotten in. More importantly, someone had to have planted the bracelet in my bag between when I left the study and when Toby fetched it. The only person who had mentioned seeing me in the study was Brianna. The only person who would benefit from my disgrace was Brianna. A cold resolve hardened inside me, replacing the shattered feeling. I picked up my phone. I called the number from the HR voicemail. When the manager answered, my voice was steady, clearer than it had been in days. "This is Lauren Miller," I said. "I'm calling to formally accept your offer. We discussed a start date. I asked if it could be sooner. I needed to get out of this town, away from the whispers and the pitying looks I knew would come." They agreed. In that moment, my path became clear. Their rejection was not my end. It was my brutal, painful beginning. I would not waste it. 2 weeks later, I moved to the city. The new job was fast-paced and intimidating, but I welcomed the challenge. I used every ounce of my hurt and anger as fuel. I stayed late, I volunteered for tough projects, and I learned everything I could. My colleagues were smart and ambitious, and they judged me only on my work. For the first time, I was just Lauren, the new strategist with good ideas, not anyone's little sister or disappointment. I rented a small apartment with a view of other buildings, and the noise of the city became a comforting soundtrack, drowning out the memory of my father's cold voice. A year flew by in a whirlwind of work and new experiences. I was good at my job, better than I had ever imagined. My campaign ideas were fresh and effective. My boss noticed, and I was promoted to team lead. I made friends, real friends who liked me for my sense of humor and my work ethic, not out of family obligation. I built a new, chosen family. The ache of Thanksgiving still came sometimes, a phantom pain, but it was no longer a raw, open wound. It was a scar. And scars, I learned, are reminders of what you survived. They make you stronger. My phone rang one evening. The screen flashed Dad. I stared at it, my heart doing a strange, painful flip. I let it go to voicemail. Later, I listened. His voice was stiff, awkward. "Lauren. It's your father. Your mother and we think it's been long enough. We expect you've had time to reflect. If you're ready to apologize, we are ready to hear it. There was no 'we miss you.' No, we were wrong. Just a demand for my apology." I deleted the message. The girl they kicked out might have cried and called back. The woman I was becoming felt nothing but a distant, cold pity for them. I hit delete and ordered takeout with my roommate. Through a cousin I still occasionally texted, I heard snippets of news from home. Brianna's real estate business, the one my parents always bragged about, was in trouble. The market had shifted, and she had invested heavily in a new development that had stalled. She was overextended and stressed. My parents had apparently loaned her a significant amount of money to help. The golden child was tarnishing. I felt no joy in this, just a grim sense of confirmation. Her perfect life had always been a fragile performance, and now the curtain was falling. My big break came with a campaign for a new eco-friendly sportswear brand. I poured my soul into it, crafting a story of resilience and new beginnings. The campaign launched and went viral. It won a major national marketing award, the Golden Circle. My photo was in Marketing Today magazine, with a quote from me about innovative storytelling. I bought 10 copies. I looked at the picture of myself, confident in a sharp blazer, and barely recognized the broken woman who had sat on her apartment floor over a year ago. This was who I was now. A week after the magazine came out, I got an email. The sender was my mom. The subject line was just 3 words, "Is this you?" The body was empty. Just a link to the digital version of the article. I stared at it for a long time. I imagined her seeing it in a grocery store, or one of her friends showing her. I didn't reply. I didn't confirm or deny. Let them wonder. Let them look at that successful woman and try to square her with the thief they had thrown out. Their confusion was not my problem to solve. I closed the email and went back to work. The following September, a thick, cream-colored envelope arrived at my office. It was an invitation to the grand opening gala for the Prescott Hotel, the most anticipated new luxury hotel in the city. My firm had won the account for the entire brand launch. I was the project lead. The invitation was addressed to me personally, as a guest of honor. I knew, from industry gossip, that Brianna's real estate agency had pitched fiercely for the promotional partnership and lost spectacularly. I also knew my parents, who loved fancy galas, would almost certainly be attending. The event was the talk of the social scene. The night of the gala arrived. I got ready with a calm focus. I wore a simple, stunning emerald green dress that made me feel powerful. My friends cheered me on as I left. The hotel ballroom was breathtaking, all crystal and gold and shimmering light. I stood near the entrance with the hotel owners and my boss, greeting important guests. My heart was steady. Then, I saw them. Across the crowded, elegant room, my family entered. My father in his best tuxedo, my mother in a familiar blue gown, and Brianna, looking thin and tense in silver. They hadn't seen me yet. They moved through the crowd, looking slightly out of place. I watched them. My mother was gazing around in awe. Brianna was scanning the room with a professional, calculating eye, probably looking for clients. Then, her gaze passed over our group near the door. It snapped back. Her eyes locked on mine. Her mouth fell open in sheer, undisguised shock. She grabbed my father's arm and whispered something urgently, pointing at me. My parents turned. The confusion on their faces was clear from across the room. Who was I, and why was I standing with the hosts? The moment stretched, taut and silent amidst the noise. Before they could move toward me, the owner of the hotel, Mr. Prescott, took the microphone. The gentle music faded. Ladies and gentlemen, his voice boomed, thank you for celebrating with us tonight. This stunning hotel is a dream realized, but a brand needs more than bricks and mortar. It needs a soul. That soul was crafted by the brilliant marketing team at Sterling and Gray. He gestured to my boss. And specifically, by the visionary lead on this project, whose creative strategy defined our entire launch. Please, help me thank Lauren Miller. A spotlight, which I did not expect, found me. I was blinded for a second. Mr. Prescott waved me to the stage. Every eye in the ballroom was on me, including my family's. Their faces were a frozen portrait of disbelief. I walked up the few steps, my heels steady on the polished floor. I took the microphone. My voice was calm and carried easily. Thank you, Mr. Prescott. This was a labor of love by an incredible team. I looked out at the sea of faces, and then I found them again. I held Brianna's stare. They say success is the best revenge. I don't really believe in revenge. But I do believe in proof. Proof of your own worth, to yourself. Sometimes, the people who doubt you the most, they give you the greatest fuel to succeed. So thank you to them, too. The applause erupted, loud and enveloping. I didn't smile. I just nodded graciously. After I stepped down, my parents practically shoved their way through the crowd. They reached me, their faces wet with tears. Lauren, baby, we're so sorry, my mom choked out, trying to pull me into a hug. I took a small, firm step back, putting space between us. My father looked old and crumpled. "We made a terrible mistake," he said. I was polite, perfectly professional. "I'm glad you could make it tonight," I said, my voice neutral. Brianna stood behind them, pale and silent, completely exposed. I looked past my parents, directly at her. "I hope you all enjoy the event," I said. "The canapés are excellent." Then, I turned my back on them. I walked across the ballroom to where my team was standing, cheering for me. I stepped into their circle, into the sound of my real life. Their regret was a loud, messy thing behind me. But I didn't need to hear it anymore. My victory wasn't in their apology. It was in the quiet knowledge that I had built a life, a name, and a home that they could never, ever take from me again.